flame-like patterns you have just seen were pictures of musical sounds. Similar patterns also are made of voice sounds. For the spoken word is, of course, the most important sound studied in telephone research. If my voice sounds familiar to you, it is probably because you have heard me on the Bell Systems radio program, The Telephone Hour. I'm Tom Shirley. Usually, I talk about the things telephone people are doing to serve you and your neighbors. Sometimes I tell about the research work done at the Bell Telephone Laboratories to help your telephone company make your service better and keep its cost to you as low as possible. So you can imagine that we of the Telephone Hour were much pleased when we got a call from one of the research men.
Well, there is a way you could help us besides telling about our work. We'd like to be present at one of your Telephone Hour rehearsals to make high-fidelity recordings of some of the instruments of the orchestra.
In particular?
Say the harp, the cello, and the flute. We want to use them in our study of the characteristics of sound.
Sounds interesting. But tell me, why music?
Well, as you know, we carry the music of radio and television over the same telephone network that carries the telephone calls. But more important, the study of ways to transmit music has had a lot to do with the good telephone service we have today.
Okay. Why not come next Monday?
Fine. Then we'll be there at rehearsal next Monday afternoon.
Be looking for you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And so this film has been made to show you some of the research work going on to improve the telephone, and at the same time, we hope you will enjoy a brief glimpse of the Telephone Hour.
Would you like to jump down towards the end of the waltz?
Good. 10 measures before letter H, please. Quite good. Gentlemen, we have two scientists from the Bell Telephone Laboratories here at rehearsal with us today. They are doing research on the characteristics of different sounds, and they need some music samples. Are you all set in there, Wally?
Are you ready, gentlemen?
Yes, we are, Mr. McGill.
We're all set in here, Don.
Fine. Now, gentlemen, we'll need samples from the harp, the cello, and, oh yes, the flute. All right, you'll take your directions from the control room, please. Meanwhile, the rest of us will have a break.
All set? Take one, cello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morris.
Hello,
How are
Mr.
you?
Francis Scotty. So glad to see you. How are you feeling?
Very fine, thank
Good.
you.
We're just checking over the score of your first number, the Irish tune from County Derry. Looks very good, I believe.
Fine. I am ready anytime.
Oh, good.
Don, we can call the orchestra back in about a minute. The only instrument we have left to record is the harp.
That was fine. Thank you all very much for your help. I think we got some good samples. Well, I think that's it, Mr. McGill.
Okay, that's fine. But don't leave yet. If you do, you'll miss one of the greatest violinists in the world, Zino Franciscatti. He's our guest artist tonight on the Telephone Hour radio program. sure glad we stayed.
So am I. I wouldn't miss that for anything.
Yes, at the Bell Telephone Laboratories, scientists and engineers study spoken words, music, and many other kinds of sound so that you can hear more clearly and easily over your telephone. Here they are translating into visible patterns the music samples recorded at the telephone hour rehearsal. Any portion of that sound can be picked out and reproduced for better study in the form of the flame-like patterns. The music of the flute and of the cello are very different to the ear. Everyone knows the flute has a purer, more piercing tone. The flute sound has narrow energy peaks and few harmonics, while the cello sound had over a broad harmonic pattern. These wall charts are pictures of voice sounds. It is years of study of voices and music that have made possible the telephone service we have today. Let's consider for a moment the telephone in your own home. When you pick it up to make a call, you use it with confidence. You expect it to work properly. You expect to hear and to be heard clearly, naturally.
Hello, Dorothy. This is Margaret. I'm calling about...
But this
Amy's birthday
didn't
party
just happen.
Friday. Yes, it's going to...
Your telephone was designed and built, you might say tailor-made, to respond faithfully to the harmonic patterns of your voice. Years of research in sound have produced the telephone instrument. Endless tests have been made to be sure that the transmitter and receiver, their very shape and size, will have uniform response to all frequencies in the fluctuating valleys and peaks of speech. The very heart of these studies is this small condenser microphone. It is the measuring unit that accurately records the slightest sound. It never changes, regardless of temperature or humidity. It makes possible the delicate measurements that tell the scientist the effect of the changes he has made. This tiny microphone came out of research in devices to reproduce faithfully speech and music. This same measuring unit is used at the plants of Western Electric to test every telephone instrument before it is placed in service. If the moving dot on the screen follows a path like this, the handset is performing properly. Your telephone passed this exacting test to ensure that it would faithfully reproduce your voice. But important as it is, the work in sound research is only a part of the Bell Telephone Laboratories' job of making your telephone service ever better and of greater value to you. Other scientists work constantly on the telephone instrument itself, seeking ways to make it more efficient, more durable, and easier to use. The instrumentation laboratory is equipped with all the necessary measuring and analyzing devices, because research is essentially measurement, often incredibly fine measurement. It is in this way that telephone research charts its path as it moves ahead. With this equipment, impurities in materials on the order of 1 part in a billion may be detected. Such extreme precision is necessary in many fields. It was necessary in the development of a new refining technique for germanium, in which the molecules of the metal are actually rearranged. This is germanium, the metal that made possible the Bell Telephone Laboratories' great development, the transistor, the most important invention in electronics since the vacuum tube. A new device that can do many of the jobs done by the vacuum tube and many the tube can't do. As to wires and cables, they are giving better and more economical telephone service because telephone scientists and engineers have found ways to send many conversations over the same pair of wires at the same time. Here is one type of coaxial cable. As many as 1,800 telephone conversations can be sent at the same time over a pair of coaxial tubes like these. Or a pair of tubes can carry 600 telephone conversations as well as 2 television programs. Exploration in still another field, microwaves, paved the way for another method of communication, radio relay. Telephone research is thus constantly finding new ways to make your telephone service better, to bring you the voices of friends, the pictures of television, and the music of radio. So that's our story. We hope you enjoyed the music. And equally important, we hope we have helped you to understand more about the work of the telephone scientists in making it possible for you to talk around the world or across the street.
Hello, welcome. I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. That was Music in Motion, which has some beautiful music, but is really an ad for how great AT&T technology was at the time. And they were really phenomenal in the research that they did in converting audio into some sort of data, analog data, ultimately digital data. So, yeah, there's a lot of amazing stuff that came out of Bell Labs. And they also had a pretty good bunch of films that they did. The Bell Science series was really great. Got people interested in science, and etc. But ultimately, it's an ad. Yeah, so I show old educational films, and that's one of the ones from my collection. This next film is an animated film by Weston Woods. Weston Woods was based in Connecticut, and they did lots of adaptations of children's books. Some of them using the process I call iconographic, or people nowadays call the pan method, where they pan over illustrations or zoom in on illustrations. But this one is animated. So this is Teeny Tiny and the Witch Woman. Enjoy.
Old story. It's called Teeny Tiny and the Witch Woman. Once there was, and twice there wasn't, a family of 3 brothers. Big one in the middle, and teeny tiny. Every day, their mother said, "You can play anywhere in the village, but do not go into the forest. Your granny says a witch woman lives there, where the trees are darkest. She eats little children and uses their bones to make a fence around her house." One morning, when no one was looking, Big One said, "Let's go into the forest to play." "Yes," agreed in the middle, "I'm not afraid of any old witch woman. Come on, Teeny Tiny." Now, Teeny Tiny didn't want to go, but he went anyway. "I'll keep my eyes open and my legs ready to run," he told himself. Little by little, the shadows grew longer, and Big One in the middle and Teeny Tiny grew hungry. But no matter where they looked, the boys could not find the path to the village. At last, Teeny Tiny climbed a tree to look farther. "I see a light," he called. "Come in, come in, my children." "Wait," whispered Teeny Tiny. "Remember what our granny said." "Oh, that can't be the witch woman," said Big One. "She's so kind to ask us in." "I'm tired and hungry," said In the Middle. "You're just afraid because you're little." "Afraid?" the old woman cackled. "You needn't be afraid of me. I love little children. Come in. Stay with me. Share my dinner. I have room for all of you in my little house tonight. To
Tomorrow I'll show you your way home. But come now and smell the good dinner I have for you.
What good smells came out of that kettle. Come on, said Big One. I'm going inside.
You may call me Auntie.
Teeny Tiny looked around at all he could see. Auntie, he asked, what do you keep in that cage?
Cage? In my cage? Oh, sometimes I keep stray dogs. And sometimes I keep stray cats.
And sometimes stray children? Wondered Teeny Tiny.
You must be tired,
said the old woman.
Come now, into the bedroom. Sleep well, and tomorrow, just see if I don't show you your way home.
Shone down on that knobby white fence. It was made of bones, leg bones, arm bones, little people bones. Teeny Tiny stared at the fence. Then he looked at Big One, and in the middle, already sound asleep. They didn't know, but Teeny Tiny did. This was indeed the house of the witch woman.
Who is awake and who is asleep?
The littlest one is awake.
What, Teeny Tiny? Why don't you sleep?
Well, Auntie, my mother always cooks me an egg before I go to bed. Then I go to sleep. So the old woman cooked an egg. And Teeny Tiny ate it. But still he did not go to sleep. And after a while, the woman called again.
Who is awake and who is asleep?
The littlest one is awake, said Teeny Tiny.
What? Still awake?
Well, Auntie, my mother gives me popcorn and raisins at bedtime. Then I go to sleep. So the old woman brought him popcorn and raisins. But still he did not go to sleep. After a while, she called again.
Who is awake and who is asleep?
The littlest one is awake.
What can I get you to help you sleep?
Auntie, all that popcorn has made me thirsty. At home, when I'm thirsty, my mother goes to the well to fetch me water in a sieve. When I drink it, then I go to sleep. As the old woman bent to fetch her sieve, a cake of soap fell out of her apron pocket.
Oh dear, my magic objects. Better to leave them here safe than to lose them outside in the dark by the well.
she laid the soap, a needle, and a short, sharp knife on a high shelf. Then she opened the door softly and started toward the well. Wake up! Auntie is that witch woman. If we don't hurry, we'll be her dinner tomorrow. I heard her say she'd leave 3 magic objects on the high kitchen shelf. If she says they're magic, they just may be magic. 1, 2, 3, he tucked them into his pocket and ran with his brothers down the moonlit path. As for the old woman, she just couldn't catch any water in the sieve, and she couldn't catch any water in the sieve. Away she went, running after them. As the old woman came closer and closer, Teeny Tiny took out the cake of soap. I'll try this first. Even if it isn't magic, at least she might slip on it.
Oh, you took my magic soap.
Teeny Tiny threw the cake of soap right into her bath.
Oh, it's no use. I'll have to run around it. I'll catch you.
Then Teeny Tiny picked the needle out of his pocket. Whether it's magic or not, I'll prick her with this needle,
Oh,
cried the witch woman.
you found my magic needle too.
And suddenly the needle became many needles, a whole mountain of needles, all prickly and sharp.
It's no use. I must run around them. No, I'll get you.
She cried. Finally, Teeny Tiny pulled the knife from his pocket. If it isn't magic, at least she may cut her foot on it and we could escape. It's our only chance.
Oh, you took my magic knife too.
That knife cut a crack so long and so wide that the witch woman couldn't run around it and couldn't jump over it.
I'll get you next time.
The 3 boys didn't stop running until they reached their own home. As for the witch woman, she'll wait a long, long time before she hears a knock at her door again. I remember that story from so many years ago. My own granny told it to me. One day you will tell it too. And so the story goes on and on.
So like many of the animated films that Weston Wood did, they often worked with that Czech film company and Gene Deitch, and his wife. Gene Deitch did bunch of great animation, including Where the Wild Things Are, but also animated things for Terry Toons, and also did a weird series of Tom and Jerry cartoons. Phenomenal animator, nonetheless. But what a great story that was. I love it when a witch is like a traditional witch, like, and kids have to escape. It's real good. Yeah, so next thing I'm going to show you are Home Movie Day is tomorrow. We're celebrating it. Actually, October is going to be, the whole month is going to be dedicated to home movies with international events of Home Movie Days. We're going to do our first virtual one tomorrow, and you guys are welcome to join us. It will be from 1 to about 3:30 Eastern Standard Time here where you're watching us. We had 15 submissions from people, so it's film, it's 8, it's Super 8, it's video, a variety of different things and subjects, and it's really pretty great stuff. So that's tomorrow. But to get you in the mood, here's a short home movie I digitized for a friend of mine who's also a film collector. He runs the Orgone Archive in Pittsburgh, and these were some home movies that ended up in his collection, which is what happens. You know, you collect old films, and people kind of start giving you stuff, or you start finding stuff, and these are some home movies from a family. I guess it was written on a can. Feinberg, 1948, California. It's silent. Hello, I'm back. We're having a crazy rainstorm here, so I was taking care of a little bit of that, so I haven't had a chance to set up the next film, so you're going to watch me do it, kind of. So here's the telecine, and so here's the film. See, it's got some warped leader. Normally, if it was a regular projector, it would be problematic for that. It would get caught up and like jam and start shredding. But this telecine is pretty open. Allows me to kind of handle stuff like this. So there's a lot of rollers here that we go through. Then right here is the sound head. Now, those of you who know about projectors know that that's not right. The sound head actually comes after, not before. This has a built-in audio delay to sync it. So that's kind of an interesting little bit of technology. Here's the lighthousing. It's got LEDs in it, which I can do some color balancing with. And here's the camera. There's a mirror. So it's the camera's aimed at the frame. So yeah. So throw it up, sync it up for tension. All right. And I can't remember what film I'm showing. Hold on a sec. Oh, yes. It's To Be a Woman. So here's To Be a Woman. Enjoy.
And she says, why can't I have any boyfriends? I says, well, you have to look feminine. I mean, if you have your skirts going all the way up to your behind and showing, no boy will respect you.
Sometimes I like girls and sometimes I like boys. Boys are the best of all because they wear pants. I'm ready to be a boy. I want to be a girl.
I thought as soon as you turn 21, wow, you know, no more crazy depressions, no more fabulous heights, just steady. You can, you know, make sense out of life. No, I'm still going on the roller coaster, but I love being a girl. I feel very excited to be a woman. I should break into song at this point.
Reds and greens and whites and blues, all these colors I give to you. And a million balloons to float in the skies, a million stars to shine in your eyes. Yellow, orange, sunshiny gold, all these colors that never grow old, and a million stories to warm your heart. All these I give you wherever we are. Most of all, I give you love that's merrily red and high as above, a love far deeper than the deep down sea, and rainbow skies when you're looking at me.
Little girls get started wrong. You know, they're taught to be girlish.
A girl, when she's 3 or 4 years old, at her birthday, is not given a truck. Now, she could be given a truck and she could play with it, but she's given a doll.
Men and women are really basically equal. Women don't need to be mothers any more than they really need spaghetti.
I know a little girl. She's about 10 years old, and she's already got a rotten personality.
Girls, about 13, 14-year-old, usually take an interest in older boys, right? Because they're more mature. Now, the guys that you see in our school, they're all immature.
Girls growing up are a mess. I mean, I was. Growing up is so much harder for girls than it is for boys.
wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm a woman now.
The most important thing is that you're a person.
It's true, you do have to be a person first.
I think the problem you're dealing with is the fact that she's a person. And because she is a person to the fullest, she's become a woman.
I still don't think you sit down and say, this is what a woman is. You know, you have to show how she responds in different situations.
A woman is a mixture of everything, and a man is a mixture of everything. I guess what I'm trying to say is that a woman just has to be.
I don't think you can generalize on what it is to be a woman. I think every individual is very unique, and you have your own goals. Whatever you can do as you, whatever you can be as you, that's what it is to be a woman.
But everything that happens to me makes me more sure of my womanhood.
When I think of femininity, I think of frilly clothes, colognes, perfumes, powders.
And so often the woman who dresses in the most fancy, frizzy type way is often the least feminine type woman. A very shaky woman.
Femininity is almost a little too superficial. It's just a quality. Whereas womanliness is not just a quality, it's a way of life, which is something very different.
I would just say, to not allow yourself to be trapped by your femininity. Yeah.
Do it.
But I mean, get all involved with the tricks of the trade, and being a girl and all that type of thing. I'm not talking about not worrying about looking nice. I mean, the way you look is part of an extension of yourself. It shows what you think of yourself and so on. But, all the little tricky female girlish type things.
All those magazines that push you and push you and push you. And a lot of girls get into this whole uptight scene of pushing themselves into something that they're not. A wrong concept of what it means to be a woman.
With their little teddy bear tricks, Oh, they tell you if you want to catch a man, then you have to act like you're not interested in him, and then they'll flock around you, and things like that. It's so stupid.
She has the qualities of woman and female, and yet they're bridged by that femininity.
It's very easy to be female, a little easier to be feminine, but very, very hard to be a woman.
I don't actually understand what a woman is.
What is a woman? Is she creation, or is she completion of infinite man? What is a woman? Is she the answer, or is she just a question for wandering man? Beauty beyond seeing, her love is from within. Only eyes of needing can see or enter in. What is a woman? Is she the image, or is she the secret of compassionate man?
At this point in my life, wanting to spend my life, the rest of my life with one man, I can't conceive of it.
I can't see myself right now taking, some 20 years out of my life to stay home with the kids. The thing about finding your fulfillment in your husband, has really gone out the window.
The old Victorian idea the man has to be, the strong one, the protecting one, the woman's supposed to be subservient, chained to the stove and all that sort of stuff. I think that's a little bit passé.
The close-knit family life, it's a little outdated. Nowadays, nobody stays home, not even my mother.
Being a woman doesn't necessarily mean staying home, cooking dinner, taking care of a man. It's in everything you do.
And hopefully a girl right now of 19 years old is trying to pierce through these stereotypes and realize that a woman can be something different than she's being told.
First of all, I don't believe that a woman should be completely equal with men.
Women are, I don't want to say more sensitive because I don't really believe that, but they tend to get more emotionally upset about little things than a man would.
Women think, oh, he's a man, he can't cry at this, but I can, and then she sobs at this, and he's expected to sit there, you know, like, don't worry, dear, it's okay. And he's going through the same thing, the same feelings, right.
I don't feel that a woman's place is in the home unless she makes it her place to be at home.
A woman's body is very much a part of herself. You know, like, you can't really divorce a woman's mind or character from her own body.
Any contact that a woman has with a man has some kind of sexual feeling about it.
If you were very aggressive sexually, it would perhaps inhibit many men, although they claim they'd like it. They claim to like it because roles are changing. I mean, it sounds very exciting to a man to say, well, here's a woman and she's going to be very aggressive and she's going to be very sexual, but I think it might tend to undermine their masculinity.
So many women have been, you know, like, sort of indoctrinated, like, not so much like our generation, but previous generations, that, you know, like, it's the woman's duty to have sex. The woman really doesn't enjoy it, but it's her duty.
And there's so much more to a person's sex life than actual intercourse.
You look at sex as, you know, something dirty. And, you know, like, you're told that. It's so beautiful, like, the whole idea of, like, when I have a child, David is going to be there. David is my best friend. David is my lover. And David is my husband. You know, there's so many things that he is to me.
Her love is so selfless that she truly has become so fully herself in giving so fully. Her willingness to sacrifice and yet her tremendous strength. Her idealism yet her realism. Her convictions born of experience. Everything she speaks of and believes she's lived.
It is within the nature of a woman first to realize that she is the person who does give life. She is the person who will be giving all her life.
I think you carry life with you. I personally feel that's a pretty important responsibility.
There is a tremendous link with the divine in a woman.
For some reason, I don't know if it's just the change in the weather or what, but I've just felt so happy. And I feel in a way fulfilled, which isn't really the best possible word that I could use to describe the feeling, because I know I have a long way to go to what I really want to accomplish, but I just feel happy and I feel content, as though I finally found some kind of a place in life. And it's just the greatest feeling, and it's just like you're flying high, and you can just go on and on. You can look down and you can see everything that's happening, and yet it's not that you're totally removed from the situation. It's a very contented feeling, secure and safe in some ways. It's a good, contented feeling. It just feels so good. If feminine is a quality, I think woman is an achievement.
I don't actually understand what a woman is.
What is a woman? Is she or is she the secret of compassionate man?
So, this is what came in the film, How to Use to Be a Woman. And rest assured, I do have a copy of To Be a Man, and I also have other films made by Billy Budd Films, and they're all equally as hippy-dippy as this. But here's some information. It's kind of interesting. It gives a context of how they view showing the film. The first thing you should know is that to purchase this film is $175. If you just want to rent it, it's $17.50. Purpose of the film: to trigger response to and discussion of something of great significance. Womanhood, audience, the young, especially men and women in their upper teens, and all of those interested in the young. Film style: the young speak for themselves. 1. Showing the film twice often works best. Once before the audience response and once after. Response and discussion are key importance. So this just kind of throws ideas out there, but it's really, like a lot of films we have, it's ideas to promote discussion. In general, a very brief introduction can prime the audience in advance. Is it true that girls are usually happy that she's a girl? That a girl becomes a woman automatically? That American culture forces women into a set life pattern? That women are more emotional than men are? Is there a sexual prejudice against women? That femininity is unimportant to women, young women today? That women are more passive and inactive than men? These are the questions that you want to ask. So, response to the film, other than discussion. So here's activities related to this. And again, like school films often have that, would have the teacher's guide, which would say, all right, after you show the film on whatever, here are some things that you can do to kind of create teachable moments beyond just showing the film. Make a new soundtrack using only men's voices, or using voices of older women or voices of your friends. Make a new soundtrack using only music. Write an original song or poem for the film. Collect pictures of your own motion picture footage to go along with the soundtrack, or make a short film of your own on the topic. Prepare a pantomime to go with the soundtrack, or dramatize dialogue discussing femininity and masculinity. A girl could write about, or tell the group, how a man probably feels while watching To Be a Woman, or how she feels. Vice versa for boys. Present the ideas for a companion film, To Be a Man, which I've got, and maybe we'll probably watch that on Monday. So anyways, gender. It's definitely is a interesting topic nowadays, but back then, we were looking at binary men and women, and there was this kind of beginning to question what were considered to be gender roles in the late 60s, early 70s. And so this film is kind of beginning to kind of look at that. It doesn't come up with anything that's prescribed, but it's definitely trying to examine what that means, what it means to be a woman. And it's great that it was ideally shown to both men and women, and young people especially, because they can start thinking about what those roles are and how they've changed. Even when this film was made, based on earlier traditional gender roles. So, anyhow, let's go hang out with our friends in Buffalo, New York.
Hi, I'm Greg Armitage. Let's be friends. I live on the Great Lakes. I live in the eastern part of the United States, in the state of New York. Ready, set, go! Buffalo is located in northwestern New York State, on the shores of Lake Erie. Buffalo is an industrial city. Industry needs power and good transportation. This is Niagara Falls. It's near Buffalo. The water here is used to make electricity. The falling water turns wheels. The wheels turn turbines that generate electricity. Good transportation means railroads. Buffalo handles more than 25,000 trains each year. Good transportation means ships. Buffalo is the 7th largest port on the Great Lakes. This ship is bringing iron ore for a steel mill in Buffalo. It takes lots of power to turn iron into steel. The finished steel is shipped to other cities across the country.
Always forget how short those are. Sorry about that. What do I have queued up? I don't know if I have... What else do I have going on here? Yeah, we'll watch this, and then we'll call it a day. And hopefully you guys will join me tomorrow. We can watch some home movies and home videos and play Home Movie Day Bingo, which is a fun thing. Yeah, this next film shows us where our letters go. Very timely topic. I'm not picking these based on current events. It's just randomly stuff I got. So here we go. Where our letters go.
There's going to be a birthday party. Mother and Carolyn know about it, but it's going to be a surprise for Jerry. He's outside playing. He's the one wearing the coonskin cap. Jerry doesn't know what Mother and Carolyn are doing. Do? Of course, they're sending out invitations to the party. All they have left to do is put each invitation inside an envelope. Wet the flap of the envelope. The invitation won't fall out. And what else is needed? A stamp. They have to put a stamp on each envelope. We pay for mail service when we pay for the stamps. Now this invitation is ready to be mailed. It has the name of one of Jerry's friends. The friend's street address and the town and state where he lives. All this is necessary if mail is to get where we want it to go. Most of the invitations are going to children who live in our town. But this one is going out of town, to Jerry's cousin, Billy Green. He lives on a farm that is on a rural delivery route, near another town a few miles away. The invitation will get to Billy because the right address is on the envelope. Now all the invitations are ready to be mailed, and there's just time. It's 10 minutes to 4. The mail is collected from the corner mailbox at 4 o'clock. So Carolyn hurries to put on her coat. With the invitations hidden inside a paper bag, Jerry won't see them when Carolyn goes by on her way to the mailbox. Soon the invitations will be on their way. Will Jerry see Carolyn carrying the bag and wonder what's in it? No, he's too busy playing. Jerry hasn't guessed the secret. Carolyn will make sure that all the invitations go inside the mailbox. What will happen to them now? Carolyn doesn't know. She just knows they will get to where they're sent. But we can find out. Here comes a mail truck. The driver is a mailman who gathers letters and packages that people have mailed. He stops at mailboxes all over town and takes the mail out of them. Look, there are the invitations. This mailman will take the mail from the mailboxes to the post office. Let's follow along and see what happens. This is our town post office. And here's the mail truck that has the invitations. What will happen to them inside the post office? Let's see. The invitations to Jerry's party are in this bag of mail. The people who work in the post office will help the invitations get to Jerry's friends. See the invitations? They are ready to go through the canceling machine. This machine marks the stamp on every letter to show that the stamp has been used and cannot be used again. Now the invitations have been canceled. Where will they go next? They go here. All the letters are sorted here and put into various boxes according to where they are going. All the mail for our town is put in a box marked local. But the invitation to Jerry's cousin goes in a different box because it will be sent to a different town. Now the mail that will stay in our town must be sorted again. Each of these boxes is for a different mail route in our town. The mail is sorted so that each mailman will get only the mail that goes to people on his mail route. The invitations to the children in our town are being sorted now. Meanwhile, the first clerk is taking care of the mail that goes out of town, tying together all the letters that go to the same town. There's the invitation to Jerry's cousin Billy. It's in the mail sack that will go on a train to the town near the farm where Billy lives. The other sacks of mail will go to different places all over the country. A short time later, at the railroad station, some of the mail for out of town is placed aboard a mail car in a train. The invitation to Jerry's cousin is in the last sack. Soon the train is on its way, carrying the mail. In the mail car, as the train moves along, the mail clerks sort the mail that was put aboard. These mail sacks and these boxes are for different places along the way. There's the invitation to Jerry's cousin, in the box with other mail for the same town. Early the next morning, at the post office in our town, each mailman sorts the mail he will deliver. He arranges it by streets and house number. There's one of the invitations, and another. Soon Jerry's friends will have them. Now the mailman has finished sorting the mail for his route. He's ready to go. Here he comes. This is the way all the invitations to children in our town will be delivered. Isn't it wonderful that we can send mail and have it delivered right to where we sent it, and it costs us only the price of a stamp? A few miles away from our town, the invitation to Jerry's cousin Bill is being delivered. A rural delivery mail carrier has brought it from the town to which the train carried it out to the mailbox on the farm where Bill lives. Soon Bill will have it. His mother will take it to him. Now, here's a town that's nearly 1,000 miles from our town. Something is happening here in the post office. Jerry's Aunt Margaret is sending him a birthday present by airmail and special delivery, so it will get to him quickly. The mail clerk weighs the package to find out how much postage Aunt Margaret will have to pay. Airmail costs more than regular mail, and there's an extra charge for special delivery. The package is addressed correctly, and now with the right amount of stamps on it, it will get to Jerry. And it will go by air mail. Special delivery. Soon an airplane is leaving Aunt Margaret's town, carrying the present for Jerry and other mail that is being sent by air. At last it is Jerry's birthday, and up in his apartment they're having the party. It was a wonderful surprise for Jerry. But he has another surprise coming. For a special delivery mailman is just leaving the post office to make some deliveries. A little while later, they're still having fun at Jerry's surprise birthday party when someone's at the door. Can you guess who it is? It's the special delivery mailman. He's brought Jerry's present from Aunt Margaret that came nearly 1,000 miles by airmail. Now Jerry can see what Aunt Margaret said. It's a box. But what can be in the box? Stationery. And look, it has Jerry's name and address printed on the paper. Now Jerry will write many letters to his friends and relatives. The mail helped Jerry have a surprise party and helped him get a surprise birthday present. But we all know that the mail helps us all the time. And we can depend on it, too.
So that's, of course, when Jerry gets this full thing of letterhead, stationery, and then their family moves like 3 months later. So all of it, if he's going to use it, he has to mark it out and write the new address in and his little poor handwriting. I really like films like that because they really talk about the infrastructure and the importance of mail and kind of introduce the concepts of why the mail system was important as far as communication, because there wasn't really too much else. The phone was a possibility, but it was expensive. And there's certain things that you couldn't send via the phone, like photos, like gifts, etc. So, let's not take our means of communication for granted. All right, enough soapboxing. Thanks, guys, for tuning in today. Thank you so much for donating to the cause via coffee. Coffee is what keeps us going. Tomorrow I will be drinking a lot of coffee as we do Home Movie Day from 1 to about 3:45 or so Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you guys can tune in tomorrow. I know it's asking a lot. It's all going to be home movies and home videos, so it's not going to be goofy educational films as much. But it's another passion that I have, which is getting people to share their home movies and talk about the importance of them for our culture and for the family, etc. So everybody if I don't see you, I'll be back on Monday, and we'll continue watching some old films. And thanks so much for your time and your eyeballs. It means a great deal. Please rewind and love each other. And we will see you soon. Take care.